Welcome to apparently meeting 18 for the Ethereum cat herders. I didn't realize we'd done so many in such short a time. The first topic on the agenda is the EEA DevCon workshop. I understand from Tim that it would be good to get some feedback, and so I'll let you guys introduce yourselves and basically take it from there.
Okay,
Sure.
this is Ron.
Ron,
If you,
go ahead.
all right, and it'd be great also if I could, you guys can introduce yourselves, because I don't think we know you guys. I know Tim. So just a little background, and then we could dive in. So Ron Resnick, I'm the executive director. I've been in this role for about a little over a year and a half. I come from not the blockchain space, but I'm a technology guy, hardcore. And so I was at Intel for 12 years doing all kinds of wireless technologies, mobile wireless, with extensive activity in telecommunications, Wi-Fi, 4G, 5G. But as tied to that, I ended up running these organizations and been deeply involved in standards orgs for probably 15 years. So I think that's why they recruited me. So anyway, that's me. And then we have Paul DiMarzio on the line. Paul, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. Thanks, Ron. Hi, everybody. So I'm Paul. I'm just about finishing up my first month at the EEA. Prior to coming here, I was at Digital Asset for close to 2 years, doing all of their writing and all of the technical work with the developers to externalize their language, DAML. And before that, many years at IBM in a variety of roles. I was a coder back in the day. That's what I studied in school, but I've kind of moved into project management and other kinds of stuff. So I'm constantly moving around in what I do. And here at the EEA, I'm going to be responsible for interfacing with you guys and all the Ethereum stakeholders into what we're doing at the EEA, and figuring out how we express the value of that and keep everybody interested.
Yay!
Okay. All right. So two options. If there's not a lot of guys on the line, do you want to introduce yourselves, or I can dive in? I'll leave it up to you, Brett.
Yeah, I mean, the cat herders has been around now since the beginning of the year, really. Basically, just a community of people that have been interested in trying to push Ethereum forward. We've got a couple of guys who are coders, a couple of guys who are just project managers, a couple of guys that are just community members that wanted to get a little bit more involved. It's a real broad spectrum of people, but I guess one of the great things about Ethereum is that everyone can help somehow.
Got it. And who are you with, Brett?
Myself, at the moment, I'm working for a consultancy in Perth, Australia, and I'm helping out the Ethereum cat herders in my spare time.
Got it.
Brett keeps us all in line. I'm Brent Alsop. I'm with Canonizer, the consensus building startup. I'm new here at Cat Herders. Brett's teaching me how to take notes for systems and stuff like that. So we're trying to figure all that out. I'm trying to figure all that out. Yeah, that's me.
Hi, I'm Pooja. I am associated with Cat Herders for about 7 months now. I have been working in Ethereum community for over 2 years. I run a blog, etherworld.co, and I have been looking after the notes for all core dev meetings and the H2 and helping out with Ethereum cat herders in various things.
And my name is Hugo. I'm based in Barcelona. I've been working at the blockchain development studio for the last few months. And just over a month ago, I left, and I'm now working to start my next company.
Okay, great. And I know Tim. Okay, so I won't take a lot of your time, but I just share with you why we wanted to have this call and how it started. So and how it got initially last year when I started, I went to DEF CON, so I've been to one. So and I submitted some proposals, but we didn't get accepted. So I called up Aya, and she sent me to Althea Allen, and my question was, okay, if I would like to submit a proposal to do the following. It seems that we have, if we can put together something, and what I'm sharing with you, the board of directors of the EA is completely supportive of, we'd like to build a closer relationship and engagements with amongst the following: the Ethereum community, the enterprise companies who purchase solutions from Ethereum developers, and ultimately the work we do would be accepted in a positive manner by consumers. But the intent of having this call and the open forum is that how do we move forward, and what actions can we take so that all the work that we do in the EEA is beneficial to all the constituents, meaning the Ethereum community and the members of our org, the Ethereum, which means the Ethereum Foundation, what you guys are doing at Cat Herders, and then and inviting the Ethereum magicians as well. So they approved. So I wrote something up with help from from Althea and a couple others, and so we were approved to have an open forum, and the open forum would be co-hosted. It would be by the EA, with co-hosted ideally with the Cat Herders representatives and the Ethereum magicians and the foundation, but it'd be more of an open forum where all the folks in the audience communicate. And we have an agenda, and I'll just share with you. It's an open forum, and I took some notes, and I'd be happy to share some things with you. But the purpose is to encourage harmony and better communications to better serve, at the end of the day, the Ethereum mainnet. Because what we started out in the EA was work on, as you know, in private permissions networks. But there's definitely, obviously, we have to move toward the mainnet. So we submitted a proposal, and the EA has approved this. It hasn't been announced yet, but we're launching a working group on the Ethereum mainnet, and we're actually talking to folks who might be sharing that to build this relationship and engagement with the Ethereum community to better serve the mainnet. So this call with you guys is to, first of all, find out, does that sound good? Are you, love to have, I hope you guys are, are willing to participate in this open forum. It's an hour and a half. And I don't know if you've seen what's published, but if you haven't, I can send out the summary of what it is, but real fast, I should just do this 10 minutes introductions, and which just shares the objectives of what I just share with you. And then EA will share with you our roadmap, and talk about how we can collaborate, and this will be very fast on the roadmap, with the purpose of getting inputs from the Ethereum community and all the technology guys there on what they think is good or bad, and what they recommend, and how we build better communications to leverage the community that they feel it's beneficial, and build better trust amongst all the folks who are the participants in the ecosystem. So that's it for me. I don't know what you guys think.
To tell you the truth, that's fantastic. I mean, the EA, when it was first announced a couple of years back, I think the majority of the Ethereum community felt it was a very positive thing for the ecosystem. And whilst you guys have been working on majority private networks and so on, I read just recently that you guys were looking to move back into I guess, as you say, harmonizing with the mainnet a little bit more. I mean, ultimately, that's exactly. I think it's brilliant. I think it's brilliant, quite honestly. And in terms of the collaboration and communication between what the EEA is doing and what the community is doing and what the core devs are doing, certainly they're from a practical perspective, you guys on the EEA are very technical too. So the simplest, I guess the simplest idea from my mind is obviously the participation within the Ethereum core dev calls, because if anything, that's probably the meat in the sandwich when it comes to Ethereum, and the ability to have persons like yourselves working on complex problems on your side obviously benefits enormously on the Ethereum mainnet.
So at this event, I don't know, I assume all of you are, there's many folks there. How do we move this forward where we might have one or two people? I'm not sure how we'll put this all together, and I've asked Paul to take the lead from our side. So it's really this thinking out loud, how we make it work. But I assume there's going to be a few folks from representative of each of these, the groups up on the front to help moderate and encourage the attendees to participate. So I think, so first ask, I assume you guys would like to participate. And then if that's the case, how do we move it forward? And you guys can talk more about it offline, without us being on the call. How do we move it forward to create awareness within your cat herder community, where and Paul can help you with sending the messages of what we're doing to invite folks from the cat herders or whoever you can encourage to come at DEF CON for that session if they believe it's important. And then who are the point people, the folks that Paul and I can engage with as to being who we communicate with to disseminate information, and who would be ideally sitting at let's say if there's an area where the moderators are, who would be moderating, representing the cat herders.
Yeah, and just for context, prior to this call, Ron and I had a chat, and I'd already asked Lane to do this because he's obviously sort of founded the cat herders, and he agreed to it. But yeah, if there's anyone else on this call who will be at DEF CON, and it might be simplest to just like ping me on Giller, and Ron and Paul, I can follow up over email, because I know there's a couple other people you wanted to include from ETH magicians and whatnot. So if you'll be in DEF CON and you're interested to be part of this, happy to help coordinate that.
Absolutely, and in terms of getting engagement with the community, I mean, we could obviously start if you like, the promotion beforehand via our Twitter channel and the newsletter that Pooja writes, and other documentation, perhaps even put out a Medium post around the collaboration of the EEA with the various parts of the Ethereum community, I guess making a larger, more broader community, especially within the Ethereum enterprise space.
Well, we'd love to do it. And Paul would be the primary contact for working with you, Brett, on that. And Paul also heads up our marketing, so he's the right guy. And One other area, I mean, so I'm not, as you, it's pretty obvious, I'm not a blockchain expert coder, but I understand I was double E. And then I actually worked in entertainment game software business, so it was more product marketing and that side of it. So here's where I am, could be jaded or not jaded. I am used to, in my world that I come from, where if we were building a Nintendo game, it has to go through, we had to submit until we had, a gold approval. We had to submit it to Nintendo for them to review it. And it was not easy, but it had that Nintendo. They wouldn't put anything out that would break. So I'm sort of I'm a big believer in how we can try to deliver interoperability on a level playing field so everybody has an equal shot of success. So bottom line, what I'm sharing with you, I have a lot of experience on processes and how you develop your specifications and stuff like that. I'm not the person to look at the code, and that's why we have other folks, of course, in the EA, our members who can do that. As well as we're actually looking for a technical director. We have an open rec. If you want, when your newsletter, we could be happy to send that to you because it's a really interesting role for the EA.
Absolutely. Happy to promote that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Pooja.
that would be great. I mean, if we can have the roadmap of EA, how they want to take it further, that would be really helpful. We can definitely share it with our community, and people who would be interested can, approach us via Gitter and all.
Yeah, and one other thing that Paul has just set up, which is great. Paul, do you want to share with him what you're doing on the public EA community so we can get inputs?
Yeah, sure. So, one of the outcomes of this meeting that we're going to have at DevCon is I want to understand the best ways of keeping in touch and collaborating. And just as a starter, I've used Slack a lot in my prior jobs, and I know that a lot of the community does. So I did set up a public Slack with a private channel for actually setting up this DevCon session. But I'm hoping that we'll get people to join this workspace and set up their own channels and have other discussion areas. But there may be something different. Maybe it's Git, or maybe there are other ways, other places people like to hang out, and I need to understand what those places are so that I can engage there.
For ECH and mostly in Ethereum community, we prefer Gitter. We have different Gitters for different activities. So probably we can come up with Gitter for EA interaction, and that could be one of our main, communication channel of the plans and everything that we would want to discuss.
Okay, great. I'll make a note to start to look into that one, and maybe I'll contact you offline, and you can help me out with that a bit.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Okay, I know you have other topics, so I think we've covered this. And then the only next steps is I'd like to do, if you guys are okay with this, and we'll talk to Lane, is to do some prep work, and Paul will help facilitate that from our side, so we have a good session, and we do a good job so that there's recognition and trust in the fact that we're trying to support and be a benefit to all the participants. So if there's nothing else, we can sign off. Tim, I know you guys have an agenda. And Brett.
I'm just thinking out here, but maybe something that would be interesting to start the conversation with the whole community, etc., would be not just to get to know what the roadmap is, but also maybe for the developers and the community as a whole to get to understand what kind of challenges enterprises face when they think of building something on Ethereum mainnet. So what are the specific use cases that up until now have not really been thought of or have not been in the spotlight in terms of the community having a discussion around them? I think that would be a really interesting way to start the conversation. But again, I'm just speaking out loud.
That's great feedback.
I think it's a great. Yeah, well, actually, we took notes. That'll be one of the topics we'll put in the. It totally makes sense. So, so we'll queue that up for the open forum and just for future. So what we could arrange, if you guys are interested, on one of your calls, we can invite some of the folks from the enterprise community who are working on this that normally wouldn't participate, and you could help us figure out who those are, Tim and Brett, and you can invite them if you want, and have even dialogues amongst your, in your groups. So bottom line, think about all the things you'd like to do, and we're happy to work with you and get things to happen.
Yeah, I'll listen to any and all proposals.
Fantastic, mate.
Okay,
No,
well,
I see it,
thanks
I see it
again.
As a very exciting, yeah, I see it as a very exciting opportunity. I think it's going to be great to have this workshop. I'm gutted I'm not going to be in DevCon, to be honest, but I'm going to try and do as much as I can to help you to make sure that it's a success, which, to be honest, I think there's a lot of community love for the EA. You might not know it, but certainly talking amongst peers and so on, there's a great fondness for what you guys are doing. So I think it'll be well supported.
Great. Okay. Thanks again, Brett. Okay.
Question I had.
Well, go ahead.
Yeah, you're talking about a forum. So my understanding is there's going to be the EEA DevCon workshop, and then you're going to open a communication channel. It sounds like the most likely candidate now is on Gitter. Is that in total what we're talking about, or when you say forum, are you talking about some in addition to those two things?
No, and actually we should call it an open forum. And by the way, we want to promote it as a hosted open forum hosted by EEA cat herders, Ethereum magicians. We want to level this out. It is not just, it's the EEA. They just asked me to write I called them because I was stuck. I didn't want to submit these proposals and keep getting rejected because I don't understand what might make sense. So this is an open, you guys, whoever could have proposed it would have been fine. So let's assume it's an open forum hosted by those four parties or groups, and that's how we'll manage it. And I'm going to look for someone to help us, to moderate it and make sure that that's how it comes across.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Okay.
Pedro, can I leave the task with you to try and set up a Gitter channel for this discussion outside of the meeting, and we can invite Paul and Ron into that Gitter channel?
Yeah, of course, we'll do that. I'm not sure, Paul and Ron, do you guys already have any Gitter ID that I can use for that?
No, but I will by the
No, but I'll get one. Yeah, we'll both get one. I'll have to figure out how I get one, but I assume it's not that hard. So I'll do it, and so we.
Not too hard.
So I have your email, which is. I'm sorry.
I just checked with Paul, and I have his email, so I will create this and will send out the details in the email.
Okay, great.
I guess the default is Gitter because a lot of people have GitHub usernames,
right?
And GitHub integrates with Gitter.
Got it. Oh well, if I have a GitHub username, would that work, Pooja?
Yep.
Yes, that's absolutely.
All right, I'll send it to you.
Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Thanks again, everyone. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for
Thank you,
joining.
Ron.
Bye. Bye.
Thanks.
Thanks, EEA. So we'll move on. Hard fork coordination. Pooja, do you have an update from the last Ethereum core dev meeting, which was on Friday last week?
Yeah, just bear with me a second. I'll just pull up the notes.
Excellent. Just so while Peter is doing that, just so you people are aware, there was a proposal put forward to change the names of the hard forks going forward, so that all hard forks going forward will follow the naming convention of the locations where the first or the DevCons took place. So as a result, after Istanbul, instead of the second Istanbul fork, it'll be called Berlin, which was where DevCon 0 took place. And then after that will be London, etc.
Yeah. Yeah. So according to our last meeting, we have decided that we'll be waiting for parity to finish up the implementation, and then we will come up with the block number to be picked up for the testnet. This may affect our mainnet hard fork. It may not be on October 4th, but we want to be safer than sorry, so we'll be just going by the flow. From this point onward, all core devs meeting will be on 1400 UTC. That was our previous decided time. We may be changing on request of like if some people come up strongly saying that no rotation was really good and we should continue that, then we may discuss this further in all core dev and continue with that. But since so far we have seen that it's very less people showing up because of the rotation, there is a lot of confusion. So we decided to continue with the previous time.
I think that's a good idea.
And EIP 1884 needs further discussion that we may be supporting. There could be a discussion on Forum of Ethereum Magician that would be going on there. And there were a couple of suggestions. One was to, shadow fork on Ropsten instead of going for the direct hard coding on testnets. So that was one. And second was the migration of migration from Ropsten actually to come up with a new testnet network, because developers believe that Ropsten has certain limitations and that may not be good to carry forward. So in future, we may come up with a new testnet network. And the suggestion was to come up with Berlin, maybe because ProcPaw is going to be one of the differentiator from this testnet network to another testnet network.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, that's it.
I know they were looking at holding the meeting on a weekly basis to determine that block number. Is the next meeting going to be this Friday, or is it in 2 weeks' time?
It's in 2 weeks' time.
It's in 2 weeks' time. Okay. And with regards to Parity's work, was it going to be discussion in the back end to choose the block number, or were they going to be waiting until 2 weeks to choose that block number?
We will be waiting for that.
Okay, thank you. Anything else from hard fork coordination update?
Should we write some blog post or some piece of communication explaining the AIPs that are going to be included in the next hard fork?
Yeah, I think Hudson mentioned that. So for sure this will happen, and it should probably be worth pinging Hudson to make sure we don't duplicate work if someone's already on it. But yes, there was some, like 1884, for example, has some impact on current contracts. So we definitely want to have clear communication on the fact that it's included and the specific impact that it has.
Absolutely. And from the meeting before last, or the meeting 2 Fridays ago, Hudson actually pushed that out to the Ethereum cat herders. And thanks for jogging my memory there, Tim. To try and push out some communication to the community around 1884. So yeah, we'll drop a note to Hudson in the getter, confirm what needs to be said, and if anyone's interested in writing a Medium post on that. Otherwise, we could talk about it outside on the getter channel.
I'm happy to help. So once we get Hudson answer. Happy to help.
Awesome. Thank you, Hilo.
Also, I think that we should also update our website, as we did it for the last hard fork with the list of EIPs and the other things that have been progressed, because it seems to be, that needs some
Sounds good.
Yep. Okay. We'll do that.
Yeah, by the way, just so we don't duplicate work, there is an Istanbul tracker. I just posted it in the chat, so that's probably the best thing to reference.
Yep, absolutely. Spot on, Tim. Okay.
So to be clear, instead of listing the EIPs in the website, we should redirect people to the Istanbul tracker. Maybe that's easier, right?
Absolutely, as a central source of truth.
Yeah, both that and the Meta EIP, I guess, is also worth linking because it lists all the stuff that did not get in as well. So if people are wondering, about a specific EIP, then they can also see it there.
Exactly.
That's already linked, right?
Yeah, it is there, already there. So we just need to come up with this Martin's tracker. We can update it over there. And if in a specific, we want to list those 6 EIPs that we are going to have this in this this hard fork, so we can list them as well. That may point to the GitHub of that particular EIP and the tracker, the Martin's tracker. Martin's tracker is also good to show what is the current status of client.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. We'll move on to the next agenda item. Just the updates and the action items for Constantinople post-mortem. This is, I guess, taking some time now, and it's probably worth looking at maybe if we could put a concerted effort as a team to close this out now as we're heading into Istanbul. Are there any updates on the Constantinople postmortem?
I think it was Charles who was leading that, right?
Yes, that's correct. We'll probably reach out to Charles. I know Pedro's been actively involved in that as well as William. So I'll probably reach out to Charles, see what's going on there, and then we may have a discussion, Pedro, with William and Charles, and see how we can close the remaining items out.
Yeah, I have been mentioning in my newsletter, some past couple of newsletters. So we are looking for community support to close them. There are a few steps so far, so we will be looking forward for community support to get them closed.
Absolutely, and yeah, I'll talk that out in any other business as well. We'll move on to funding, accounting, and multi-sig. William's not on the call, unfortunately, so he was going to be looking at the work that Brent had done. Brent, do you have an update on that?
Yeah, I posted I don't think he understood that the main issue that I see is the Gitcoin discrepancy, and so I pointed that out to him, and I don't know of any other discrepancies other than that. And so, but anyway, I haven't heard back from him since I updated him on that. So I'm still a little bit confused. I guess I need to. I'm going to try and reach out to Kevin Owoki and see if I can pin down what's going on with that, and if anyone knows of any other discrepancies besides just the Gitcoin discrepancy. I'm still trying to get my head. It seems like I think you guys have been pointing out there's something more than that, but I'm having troubles getting my head around that.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of anything else apart from the Gitcoin discrepancy. Obviously, we've got the two funds in one account, which is not ideal, and we'll sort that out once the Gitcoin discrepancy is resolved.
Right.
But first and foremost for me is resolve that Gitcoin discrepancy, and if it turns out that it just cannot be resolved, the money has disappeared into the ether, then we need to draw a line in the sand and say this is what it is.
Yeah.
And from there.
Yep. Yeah. So I'll take an action item on that to to at least Kevin Owoki and try and get more information on that. For
Cool.
yeah.
Thank you, Grant. Okay. I've gone through and updated the ECH funding notes that Pooja originally set up. I'm not aware of anyone having been paid yet. Again, I'll follow up with Charles and with Hudson and with Lane just to try and make those payments occur. Also, I threw out a question just on one of the core dev notes for Ethereum 2. It's issue number 19 in the funding list. And basically, Pooja wrote the notes for Ethereum 2 implementers call. At the time, it was one of those calls where the Gitcoin got missed. And so I'm basically asking if it's okay for the Ethereum cat holders to cover her time, because she did put in several hours to get these notes across the line. If anyone, I'll put the post in the Getter again. If we could please have a seconder to my request, and then we can approve her payment as well.
Yeah, we're also having, I submitted a pull request for the Ether 2.0 notes. There's the last Ether 2.0 meeting, which Jim, my partner Jim, did the notes for, and we did the one before that. And I did the pull request for the one for that. And I haven't checked recently, but I don't think that pull request has been accepted. But anyway, I need to look into that, see if I can move that along and get both of those.
If you can drop me a line just with the pull request number, I'll flip it through to Danny and make sure it's approved.
Okay, I'll look into that. Another action item.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to helping to organize the pre-dev con ETH Magicians Council, Tim.
Yeah, so I just wanted to share this to this group because there is going to be sort of an ETH Magicians event happening before DEF CON. It seems like it's shaping up to be on the Monday, and there's an ETH Magicians thread that I linked on the agenda. So if anyone will be in Japan and wants to help organize this, I think it's kind of a high value thing to work on. So I just wanted to bring it to the attention of this group.
Absolutely. And I agree with you, Tim. I think more and more as we move on in this space, the ETH Magicians are becoming a very important part of the cog in the wheel of Ethereum. I see our involvement with the ETH Magicians as being critical to the success of Ethereum in general. Yeah, again, I think probably best to publicize it in the Getter. I know we wanted to try and speak to as many people here on the call, but there'll be a few people that I think would be interested in getting involved with that. And again, do we want to keep it within the cat herders, or do we want to reach out to the community to assist in any way? Or
so I think there are already some people kind of kickstarting this effort. And so I think maybe the cat herders or the community might be helpful to help, but I just wanted to, like, if any one of us will be in DEF CON and has the bandwidth, I think it can be a good thing. Personally, I don't, so yeah, so again, if anyone feels like they can contribute to this, I think it's good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to be there. I might have some bandwidth to help with that, just FYI.
Great. Are you aware of like this thread on ETH Magicians?
No, not yet.
Okay, so I'll just post it in the chat right now. And
Great. Okay.
There you go.
Thank you.
And for those who want to get involved, do they just go through the thread, or do they reach out to yourself, Tim?
Oh, just go through the thread. Yeah.
That's great. Is Boris coordinating it this year again?
Sorry?
Is Boris coordinating?
I don't know. It seems like it's mostly Jamie and a couple other people who have stepped in.
Excellent. Okay. That's fantastic. Jamie's obviously also in our Getter channel, which means if anyone wants to reach out directly to him, you can do so. Okay. Thank you, Tim. Next item, any other business? I want to raise just one item where I'm keen to get everyone's approval just to go out and promote note taking for within the Ethereum cat herders. At the moment, we've lost 2 of our note takers, and we'd like to bolster the numbers a little. Obviously, one of the first places I'll probably reach out to is those who've written notes previously in the Gitcoin repositories, and then from there put it out to the broader community. But if everyone's okay with that suggestion, I'll probably look to do that next week.
Yeah, I've been trying to follow because there seems to be still this parallel effort on Gitter or Gitcoin, I mean, and if someone posts a bounty for that, then it seems there's always at least 2, usually 3, 4, sometimes 5 people that I don't know of being in cat herders that are applying for doing that. But anyway,
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So should we just be using Gitcoin then?
Yeah, I'm wondering if we should just use Gitcoin, yeah, and collaborate and work. And the problem with Gitcoin though is it's managed by what's his name that manages it, and he has such little bandwidth, and it's not a high priority for him, so things tend to fall through the
Danny Ryan?
cracks. Yeah, I think yeah.
So maybe go ahead.
Danny Ryan's working with Gitcoin to fund Ethereum to call notes for calls. I guess one of the issues that he has is that when he puts it out into Gitcoin, anyone can apply for it, and generally it's whoever's first gets offered the opportunity to write the notes. But the quality of the notes vary in extreme,
right.
From really good notes to pretty poor notes,
right.
And there's no real recourse, which is why I guess working with Danny at the moment, we're trying to improve the note-taking process within Ethereum too.
And the selector process, yeah, who gets selected process.
Exactly.
So that we don't have the 2 overlapping processes.
Exactly. So what I'm doing at the moment for everyone's benefits in terms of trying to keep it transparent, we're putting an issue forward through every agenda. Basically, previously the issue was posted by Danny, and then a Gitcoin effort was raised, or funding was raised, and I would tell Danny that so-and-so is going to write the notes, and then he would allocate the person via Gitcoin to the notes. What I'm doing at the moment is telling Danny in advance, because he's not currently actually putting the notes issue up. So I'm raising the notes issue and saying, Danny, can you please create the Gitcoin grant? He's been extremely run off his feet, and he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, I wonder if there's one of us that could get the permissions.
Absolutely.
Yeah, to take over that job, so some one of us can do it instead of waiting for him to find time, which he never does, to do it.
Absolutely agreed. And I guess that's a discussion we need to have with Danny, just to make sure. Obviously, we've got to ensure that there's some degree of separation between who's giving the money out and who's allocating the people to the jobs, because we don't want to look like we're just taking money for the sake of taking money, to be honest.
Right.
But yeah, I'll have a word with Danny and see what's happening there.
Okay.
In terms of the other notes for the core dev in Ethereum call, or Ethereum 1 as it is perhaps referred to at the moment, and the current cat herder calls, those are funded through the cat herders. Obviously, until we run out of money, when we figure out how much money we've got, after the Gitcoin discrepancy. But for the time being, we'll assume that they're funded by the Ethereum cat herders, and if we start running out of money, we'll start raising some more money to take notes.
Okay.
And that is a case of just making sure that the three holders of the multi-sig, two of them collude to pay the note takers.
Great.
Anything else from any other business?
And just for my information, who are the three cat herder fund multi-sig holders?
It's Lane, Hudson, and Charles.
Okay. Great, thanks.
Okay.
Just wanted to check, anyone from this meeting would want to be a part of GitHub that we are creating today for EA collaboration, EA and mainnet collaboration?
Yeah, I want to be on it.
Yeah, please add me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
I think it's a full house, Pooja.
Okay, I'll do that. So we are going to make it public, I believe. That's what Ron was trying to say here, that it should be public and anyone in the world can join that. Or do you want
Yeah,
to?
and he
Sure.
wants
Yeah,
us
yeah.
to recruit people to be in it, yeah.
Is that for the forum going forward, or in terms of planning the workshop? I think initially it's probably best that we talk to Ron and Paul and I guess bounce
So
ideas
I
around.
have an email thread going with Ron and Paul about planning the workshop.
Awesome.
If you want to be added there and like you're at DevCon and want to participate, just ping me and I'll add you in that conversation.
Yeah, add me definitely, because I'll be there.
Okay, great.
If I'm not already.
And Tim, I know I won't be at DevCon, but if there's any way I can help, I'd be happy to be included.
Cool. I'll keep you updated.
Yeah, same with me. I'm not to be able to make it to DevCon, but I would be happy to help in any possible way.
Great.
Thanks. Okay. And then review any outstanding action items from the last call. I'll just quickly jump onto the notes from the last call. Okay, we've got one action item. William to look into Brent's filings, which unfortunately Brent, as Brent's pointed out, he's still looking into it. We haven't heard anything. Unfortunately, William's not on the call, so we'll leave that action item open for the time being. Okay. Well, I think that's it, guys.
Now you said William. Yeah, I'm a little bit confused. William who is, what was the action item with William again? I'm a little bit unclear on that.
So William Schwab was to engage with yourself just to look over you.
Yeah. This is William that was at the, okay, yeah, he was at the dinner with us out there, right? And he was the one offering to help it, and then that's the one I've been talking about. And
William wasn't in Berlin.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah, I'm getting confused names then. So William is just a different person than the one, and he volunteered to help with this stuff. And okay. And what's William's last name?
Schwab.
Spell that for me.
SCHWAB. Sorry.
SCHWAP. Schwab.
No, just SCHWAB. Schwab.
Oh, Schwab. Oh, okay. Okay, great. Thanks for that. And is there a does he have a Gitter ID?
He is in the Gitter channel.
Okay. Name Schwab. That helps. Okay. That helps. Thanks a bunch.
Anything else, guys? Well, I'll call it. Thank you very much. Great cat herders call and great introduction, Tim. Thanks for introducing the EEA. I think it's going to be exciting to work with these guys and promote what they're doing in the community.
Yeah, and thanks for moderating the call.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Brett.
Speak soon. See you, Hugo.
Yeah, thanks. See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.